So you wish to unleash the might of the barbarian, but not in a conventional way, in a more roundabout way. Then this is the build for you. Welcome everybody, my name is Rusty Pie Lover, ginger streamer, professional high-pitch screamer, entertainer extraordinaire. And welcome to the Whirlwind Barbarian build. Now before we get started, I know what you're thinking. Whirlwind was not good in Diablo 2 or in Diablo 3, but I believe with this build, most of that issue has been remedied in Diablo 4. So without wasting any further time, we're just going to dive right into it with our skills, and these are again split into the following. We have our basic, our core, our defensive, our brawling, weapon mastery, ultimate, and capstone. To start us off in the basic tree, we are going to go with Frenzy. Generate Fury 5, Lucky Hit Chance 30%, unleash a rapid flurry of blows, dealing 21% damage with each pair of hits. If Frenzy hits an enemy, its attack speed is increased by plus 20% for 3 seconds up to 60%. And your upgrade options there are Enhanced Frenzy. While Frenzy is granting plus 60% bonus attack speed, it also generates 1 additional Fury. Battle Frenzy. While berserking, your other skills gain 5% attack speed for each stack of Frenzy you have. And Combat Frenzy. You gain times 8% damage reduction for each stack of Frenzy you currently have. Or alternatively, you can go with Lunging Strike. Generate Fury 9, Lucky Hit Chance 50%, lunge forward and strike an enemy for 31% damage. And our upgrade options are Enhanced Lunging Strike. Lunging Strike deals times 30% increased damage and heals you for 2% maximum life when it damages a healthy enemy. Or Battle Lunging Strike. Lunging Strike also inflicts 21% bleeding damage over 5 seconds. Or Combat Lunging Strike. Critical strikes with Lunging Strike grant you berserking for 1.5 seconds. So your basic skills are going to allow you to generate Fury, and this is going to make sure that you're right in there trying to get as much Fury going, but also increase your attack speed, which will allow you to do more critical damage. And if you want to go into more of a bleed type build, you can go with the Lunging Strike, but in this case we want to make sure that we are attacking fast, quickly, efficiently, and often. Under our core skills, we are going to go with Whirlwind. Fury cost 20 per second, Lucky Hit Chance 20%, rapidly attacks surrounding enemies for 12% damage. And our upgrade options are Enhanced Whirlwind. Gain 1 Fury each time Whirlwind deals direct damage to an enemy, or 3 Fury against elite enemies. Furious Whirlwind. While using a slashing weapon, Whirlwind also inflicts 26% bleeding damage over 5 seconds. Or Violent Whirlwind. After using Whirlwind for 2 seconds, Whirlwind deals times 30% increased damage until it is cancelled. So this is going to be our core skill. This is going to be the skill that we're going to be working around, trying to enhance this. And as you can see with your upgrades, you can go into more of a bleed style Whirlwind build that allows you to render your enemies completely useless, or it's going to make sure that you generate continuous Fury every time you hit, which is why we go more with the Frenzy build to continue allowing us to use Whirlwind. And as you can see, there is no damage reduction when doing Whirlwind as far as we know now. So Whirlwind right now is really good. On our defensive skills, we are going to use Iron Skin. Cooldown 14 seconds. Steal Yourself, gaining a barrier that absorbs 50% of your missing life for 5 seconds. Under the enhancements, we will go with Enhanced Iron Skin. Iron Skin absorbs plus 10% more missing life. Strategic Iron Skin. Iron Skin also grants 9% base life as fortification. Double this amount if cast while below 50% life. And Tactical Iron Skin. While Iron Skin is active, restore life equal to 10% of the barrier's original amount per second. Alternatively, we can go with Challenging Shout. Cooldown 25 seconds. Taunt nearby enemies and gain times 40% damage reduction for 8 seconds. And the upgrade options there. Enhanced Challenging Shout. While Challenging Shout is active, gain times 20% bonus maximum life. Strategic Challenging Shout. While Challenging Shout is active, gain Thorns equal to plus 50% of your maximum life. Or Tactical Challenging Shout. While Challenging Shout is active, you gain 3 Fury each time you take damage. So your defensive skills are going to allow you to stay in the fight, and this is really up to your choice whether you want to do Iron Skin, which will buff up your Barbarian, or alternatively you can call upon enemies to really try and group them and make the most of your Whirlwind. So this is really up to you how much defensive capability and tankiness you want to add to your Barbarian. Remember, we are trying to do as much damage as possible while trying to remain alive, and since our Barbarian is our tank, you're going to want to make sure that you stay in the middle of the battlefield, continuously generating fury while remaining alive. Under our brawling, we are going to go with either Charge, cooldown 17 seconds, lucky hit chance 33%, become unstoppable and rush forward, pushing enemies with you, then swinging through them for 26% damage and knocking them back. And our upgrade options are Enhanced Charge. Enemies who are knocked back into terrain by charge take 16% damage and are stunned for 3 seconds. Mighty Charge. Damaging enemies with charge makes them vulnerable for 2 seconds. Or Power Charge. Reduce charge's cooldown by 3 seconds if it knocks back an enemy into terrain. Or we can go with Leap. Cooldown 17 seconds. Lucky hit chance 33%. Leap forward and then slam down, dealing 34% damage and knocking back surrounding enemies on impact. And our upgrade options are Enhanced Leap. If Leap doesn't damage any enemies, its cooldown is reduced by 4 seconds. Mighty Leap. Enemies damaged by Leap are slowed by 50% for 5 seconds. Or Power Leap. If Leap damages at least one enemy, gain 40 Fury. To further enhance our brawling skills, we could upgrade into Aggressive Resistance, gain 4% damage reduction while berserking. Then Battle Frenzy. When a brawling skill damages at least one enemy, gain berserking for 1 second. Prolific Fury. While berserking, Fury generation is increased by times 6%. We will also go with Swiftness. Move speed is increased by plus 4%. And Quick Impulses reduce the duration of control impairing effects by times 6%. So your brawling skills are going to help you really get into the meat of the battle. Call upon the enemies around you and really just do an insane amount of damage while allowing yourself to make use of many of the buffs under your brawling tree, generating that fury and allowing your Whirlwind to really do a bulk of the damage, as well as using charge to slam your enemies into terrain to get that stun bonus, which will allow your Whirlwind to do what it needs to do. Otherwise, you can really jump into the fight with your Leap, do a bunch of damage to your enemies while Whirlwinding. And this is really where Whirlwind is going to be buffed up by these supplementary skills. Next up, we have Weapons Mastery. And under Weapon Mastery, we are going to go with Steel Grasp. Charges 2. Charge cooldown 11 seconds. Lucky hit chance 25%. Throw out a trio of chains that deal 24% damage and pull in enemies. And upgrading Steel Grasp with Enhanced Steel Grasp. Steel Grasp also makes enemies vulnerable for 2.5 seconds. Warriors Steel Grasp. Steel Grasp gains 1 additional charge. And Fighters Steel Grasp. If Steel Grasp damages an enemy, gain Berserking for 2 seconds. And to further buff up our Weapons Mastery, we are going to go with Pit Fighter. You deal times 3% increased damage to close enemies and gain 2% distant damage reduction. No Mercy, you deal times 5% increased damage against immobilized, stunned, or slowed enemies. Expose Vulnerability, Dealing direct damage with a weapon mastery skill causes your next core skill to make enemies vulnerable for 1.5 seconds. And Slaying Strike, you deal times 8% increased damage against injured enemies. So Weapon Mastery is going to give us the status effects that we need to really bring down the defenses of our enemies that are surrounding us. And again, this is where Whirlwind will benefit from all of these supplementary buffs, really allowing you to just deal a bunch of damage, spinning like a Beyblade, and just doing an obscene amount of attrition damage. If you want to go a bleeding build, if not, you're going to be doing so many different types of debuffs to the enemies while slamming them into the vast variety of terrains, allowing your Barbarian to really utilize Whirlwind to its absolute best capabilities. Now we move on to our ultimate, and in our ultimate we are going to go with Wrath of the Berserker. Cooldown 60 seconds, lucky hit chance 40%, gain berserking and unstoppable for 5 seconds. For the next 10 seconds, dealing direct damage with basic skills grants berserking for 5 seconds. To upgrade that, we are going to go with Supreme Wrath of the Berserker. While Wrath of the Berserker is active, gain plus 50% increased movement speed and increased fury generation by times 25%. Or Prime Wrath of the Berserker. While Wrath of the Berserker is active, every 20 fury you spend increases Berserk's damage by a bonus times 30%. To further upgrade our ultimates, we are going to go with Wallop. Your skills using bludgeoning weapons deal times 5% increased damage if the enemy is stunned or vulnerable. Concussion, Lucky Hit. Skills using bludgeoning weapons have up to a 10% chance to stun enemies for 3 seconds or up to a 15% chance when using a two-handed bludgeoning weapon. Heavy-handed. While using two-handed weapons, you deal times 5% increased critical strike damage. And Brute Force, your overpower deals times 15% increased damage when using a two-handed weapon. So your ultimate again is going to help you generate fury, get into the fight, and absolutely maul with Whirlwind. And as you saw there, we're going to go more for a two-handed weapon build, which allows us to spin around, do a bunch of damage, as well as gaining the ability to stun enemies, lock them in place, and really allow Whirlwind to do what it needs to do. And finally, under our capstone, we are going to use Unbridled Rage. Core skills deal times 135% increased damage, but cost 100% more. So with our capstone, it rounds off our skill build for the Whirlwind Barbarian. And as you can see, the fact that your core skill is going to be Whirlwind, while it does do 100% more resource usage, you gain the benefit of doing times 135% damage. And again, this is where Whirlwind really comes in as a viable build for the Barbarian, which we are going to increase with the Codex of Power in a second. But as you can see, as long as we are generating fury, as long as we are calling upon enemies, upon us to continuously generate fury, Whirlwind will stay going the entire time. And this really right here is what you want to do with the Whirlwind Barbarian. Make sure your fury generation is right there. Make sure that you're spinning all the time. Use your supplementary basic skills to get in there, do a bunch of fury damage, and then boy howdy, is that Whirlwind going to work. Under the Codex of Power, we are going to split this up again into defensive, offensive, resource, utility, and mobility. Starting with our defensive, we are going to go with Aspect of Might. Basic skills grant 25% damage reduction for 4 seconds. Aspect of Numbing Wrath. Each point of fury generated while at maximum fury grants a number of Fortify. And Aspect of Iron Warrior. Iron Skin also makes you unstoppable. Under our offensive, we are going to go with Aspect of Dire Whirlwind. Whirlwind's critical strike chance is increased by 5% for each second it is channeled, up to 20%. Veteran Brawler's Aspect. Each time a core skill deals direct damage to an enemy, your next charge or leap deals times 15% increased damage, up to 225%. Edgemaster's Aspect. Skills deal up to times 24% increased damage based on available resource when cast, receiving the full benefit while at full resource. Aspect of the expectant. Enemies hit with basic skills increases the damage of your next core skill by times 5% up to times 50%. Aspect of ancestral echoes. Lucky hit. Damaging enemies with leap, upheaval, or whirlwind has up to a 40% chance to summon an ancient to perform the same skill. Can only happen once every 5 seconds. Under our resource, we are only going to be using aspect of unrelenting fury. Killing an enemy with a core skill refunds 10% of its base fury cost. Can only happen once per skill cost. Under our utility, aspect of shared misery. Lucky hit. When you hit a crowd-controlled enemy, there is up to a 30% chance for that crowd control effect to spread to another unaffected enemy. Or Relentless Berserker's aspect. Lucky hit. Damaging an enemy with a core skill has up to 22% chance to extend the duration of berserking by 1 second. Double this duration if it was a critical strike. And mobility, Wind Striker's aspect. Critical strikes grant 8% movement speed for 1 second. The duration can be extended. So as you can see with the Codex of Power, this is meant to buff up the rest of the build. This is going to make sure critical strikes on your Whirlwind, making sure that your Whirlwind continues to give you the benefit of using it. And this is really where your build can diversify. You can pick these aspects. Remember, aspects are slots in your weapons that give you these particular abilities. Now, we could have multiple of these or only one, I don't know yet, but I'm giving you all of the options that you can use for this. And as you can tell, the Whirlwind Barbarian right now is probably one of the strongest builds for the Barbarian, purely because there is no damage loss from the Whirlwind skill, as far as we can tell. Remember, Diablo 4 has not released yet, so we don't know if on release they're going to nerf this. But so far, if you haven't checked out the Diablo 4 builder, in the description down below or in the comment section, pinned comment right over there, go and check out this particular build and tell me, how would you change this up? How are you going to build your Barbarian? Are you going to go with the Whirlwind Barbarian? Are you going to make it more of a bleed Whirlwind Barbarian? Or are you going to stick with the Barbarian that gets in there, generates the fury, and continues to keep the Whirlwind going? Let me know down below. Thank you everybody so much for watching. If you did enjoy that, please do consider leaving a like, possibly subscribing, and let me know, are you excited for the Barbarian for Diablo 4? Personally, I firmly believe that the Barbarian is finally probably one of the stronger characters in the game. Based on just Whirlwind, I haven't even covered the rest of the possible builds that we could see. But I'm actually quite excited to see how much Whirlwind has improved in Diablo 4. If you haven't checked out my previous build video, it's right over here. And until then, Sanctuary awaits.